Hello there. That's what everyone said, wasn't it? Yes. Welcome back to another podcast. I believe this is number 5 now. We are breezing through them at the moment. And me and Kris. Yes, good evening, Kris. I should introduce you first.
Good evening. How are we today?
Yes, we both had some I'd certainly say for me, surreal experiences today. It's currently reading week for us in university, meaning we have no classes. Those of you out there working probably thinking it's pretty much like that all the time. But yeah, we do a bit of work in term time, we will admit. But like I said, last week I said that we both had work experience coming up. Kris is at the Telegraph this week.
Yes, I am.
And tell me then, how's it going?
Yep, very interesting. Mostly focus on rugby ahead of the final on Saturday. Did some capturing of the photos about previous semi-finals and how the teams did really well in the semi-finals and then sort of crumbled in the final and lost. How was your day, Sam? What did you get to do at TalkSport?
I've been at the news building in London Bridge, 17 floors up. I can tell you it is a bit of a trek if you take the stairs. But yeah, I assisted on the Hawksby and Jacobs afternoon show today. Did a bit of editing of clips in Berlin. A lot of today was about just watching exactly what they do, and I can't tell you how much I've learned already, and I've still got 4 more days there. So a big learning process for us both, one that we're both enjoying so far. And so straight into today's podcast. What have we got coming up today? Then the usual discussion on Premier League games. Kris has got a ton of stats for you that he's going to read out, some of the best ones from the weekend. It wasn't a great weekend for our clubs either. And then we got some other sport coverage in terms of the Rugby World Cup. It was an eventful weekend in Japan. And then some cricket stuff from myself and darts as well. And then if we look on to the next week in sport. So, Kris, do you want to start with another defeat for Tottenham on the road?
Another defeat. We travelled to Anfield following our 5-0 victory against Red Star Belgrade. Our away form this season in the Premier League has been appalling. We only managed 2 points out of 15 possible on the road this season, which is terrible.
After 1 minute, though, everything was perfect, wasn't it?
47 seconds in, Harry Kane. I thought it was going to be revenge for the Champions League final. They scored a minute in Madrid. We scored a minute in Liverpool, but wasn't to be. Now, Pochettino is still refusing to pick players who are committed to the football club. And obviously the main questionable decisions this week made by the Argentine were starting Eriksen and Serge Aurier as right back once again. You know, Eriksen's offensive play was very poor. Here's a fun stat. Paulo Gazzaniga, our goalkeeper, created more chances in the game than Eriksen, and that was one.
Yes, on that, do you think Eriksen, because obviously there's a bit of talk that he wants to leave, do you think he's almost making sure he doesn't get injured? So he'll be fit in January and then he can... because they say if he gets injured, then a transfer is pretty much off. But do you think he's almost saving his legs?
Yeah, there's that also. But you can see that he's not there, and obviously he wants that move, so he's trying to do everything that he possibly can to move away from North London. And also, as you said, the injury aspect. No one's going to buy him if he's injured. So it's just if there's a 50-50 tackle, he's not going to pull his leg in, and that's why you talk about mentality and sacrificing yourself for the club. Harry Kane, as you said, fired us ahead just 47 seconds in, but then Liverpool just pressed constantly throughout the remainder of the first half. But they failed to score, so the morale was quite high at half-time. Going into second half, we started off strongly. We mentioned Paulo Gazzaniga's pass to Son, who unfortunately hit the crossbar for us. But the constant pressure from Liverpool, it never stopped. So 7 minutes into the second half, Henderson scored. And fun fact about Henderson, he scored his first Premier League goal at Anfield since he netted against West Brom back in December 2015. That was 1,414 days ago.
Worth the wait.
Worth the wait, definitely. And then onto Serge Aurier, he once again a rash tackle in the penalty box on Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah, converting the penalty kick into a goal. Now, Liverpool are unbeaten in their last 10 Premier League games when conceding the first goal at Anfield. They won 7 and drew 3, winning each of the last 6. There's something about Anfield, isn't there? Even though they go behind, they still manage to come back.
It's just belief in, isn't it? They've just got that, even following on from last season, that kind of never say die kind of attitude that you can always, get a result, always get something from somewhere. And when they go 1-0 down, they don't and they don't get frustrated. They're patient, and they know that if they wait long enough, they will get the chance, and they've got the quality in their team to take that chance. Certainly at the moment, and 6 points clear, they now go of Manchester City.
Indeed, but a few questions, Sam, for you. The team selection at Tottenham, we've known for quite a while that it's not working. There are a few players who are not committed to the club, who don't want to play for us. Why is it that Pochettino still sticks with the players? Like, who's to blame? Why? And why do we only start dominating games when we start to lose? Not straight from the spot. When the games start, we're on the back foot straight away. Why is that?
I think a lot of managers tend to be quite stubborn, and they back themselves. I saw it at Norwich a few years ago when we had Alex Neil in the sort of second year of his reign. He'd play the same players regardless of results. And it's just insanity. And if you're playing the same players each week, you get predictable to the opposition, don't you? So, they know how to start the game against you, and they can put you on the back foot immediately with those tactics. And it's just sometimes for a manager, it shows that your time is running out when you start to, just back yourself rather than sort of do what either the fans or other players are calling for. And perhaps he doesn't, perhaps he doesn't believe in those players he's not picking, or simply they don't believe in him, so he won't play them if they don't believe in him.
Right, that's enough of Tottenham. Now on to Norwich versus Manchester United. Sam, take it away.
Yes, don't get me started. I spent 4 hours on a train yesterday, or on Sunday, and it wasn't that fun. Yes, we were beaten heavily by Manchester United. That was the first Premier League away game they had won since February, so long come Norwich. And we never really looked at the game, to be honest. We were on the back foot again from the early stages, although we did have a good chance. Todd Cantwell blazed over from inside the box, but that was probably about as good as it got. United took the lead, and then VAR decided to step in. The first proper time I've seen it at Carrow Road, because Norwich this season we've barely had any decisions go for us, but we haven't really had anything go against us in terms of VAR. But we had 2 penalties awarded against us this week, and the one on Ben Godfrey and Daniel James was probably one of the worst decisions I think I've ever seen. I don't know if you've seen the replay, Chris.
Yes, I have.
But it's almost like we saw a lot of talk this week about referees have not been overturning decisions, and then suddenly we get 2 in the Norwich game, 1 in the Arsenal game, I think, as well. And I just feel like it's just big club bias, though. Again, the first penalty was just a joke, and if that had happened up the other end, there's no way the ref would have overturned it. And what he did, which really annoyed us, was like Ashley Young surrounded the referee after both of the incidents, and then almost pressured him in to awarding it. There's nothing neutral about that at all, and it's almost because it's Man United.
It's almost like player status, isn't it? Like big club status, big player status. If it happens to smaller teams, it's not going to be given or overturned, as you said, which I think, frankly, is really unfair.
Yeah, Norwich at the moment we're just lacking confidence, and the league is brutal, and for us it is really about hanging in there. A lot of people have written us off already. A lot of our own fans have written us off as well. But we haven't had any luck this season at all. Tons of injuries, and a few things just go against us. And it is hard to kind of force your way back in the Premier League. Like the Championship, you've got games coming thick and fast, Tuesday night games. But there's no easy games at all in the Premier League. I've got Boraytn away next week. Boraytn in good form. I can't really see us getting any points out of that. But yeah, it's a long season, or it's certainly feeling like that at the moment. And we had so much fun last year in getting here, so it's evening itself out. You have to sometimes go through these tougher times, because it's what sort of and the next victory will feel very, very sweet if and when it comes. We've got Watford in a couple of weeks on a Friday night. They haven't won a game yet, so surely that's going to be it. But disappointing for Norwich, but it's the Premier League, and it's not a forgiving league. So from that, we move on to next week.
A couple of facts from the game. Manchester United have had 3 different players miss a Premier League penalty within a single season for only the second time.
Oh yeah, shout out to Tim Krul. He had an amazing game.
Exactly.
But still conceded 3, which I felt sorry for him. But he's proved this season that he is Premier League quality, despite the back 4 he's got in front of him.
He is. He saved. He's the first keeper to save 2 penalties in a single Premier League game since 2016. So that says quite a lot.
So give me a couple of fact or one fact from each of the remaining games that will blow my mind.
Okay, so we have the Leicester game, which, as we
9-0,
all know,
yes,
was
let's talk
the
about that.
record-breaking game. Leicester winning 9-0 away
Sunday
at
League, innit?
Southampton. It is. So Leicester have recorded the joint biggest margin of victory in Premier League, alongside Manchester United, who won 9-0 against Ipswich in 1995. And it is also the biggest ever victory by the away side in an English top-flight league match in the 131 years history of the Football League. Which
Yeah,
is
there's
quite
just
impressive.
there's so much ruthlessness about Leicester, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like against Newcastle, I remember watching them. They won 5-0. Newcastle got a man sent off. Deja vu against Southampton got a man sent off, and they just they went at them. And they really put them to the sword, and sometimes you see teams just slack off a little bit when they kind of get 3 or 4 goals up, either to protect players or just because they don't have to put the effort in to win. But Leicester showed no mercy at all, and I've seen a few people talk about them winning the league again, and it's not. It doesn't even look impossible.
Do you know what?
at the
They're not
moment.
wrong. They're not wrong. Here's another stat for you from the Leicester game. The Foxes have earned 20 points from the opening 10 Premier League games of 2019-20 season, and that is one more than the same stage of the title-winning 2015-16 campaign.
It's on.
It is on. Going on to the next game, we've got Newcastle versus Wolves. Interesting fact about red cards. Only Everton, with 57 red cards,
Cool.
have had more different players shown a Premier League red card than Newcastle, with Sean Longstaff becoming the club's 53rd player to be sent off in the competition. Quite
Good
impressive.
efforts.
Good efforts. Next one is Chelsea versus Burnley, and we're going to focus mostly on Christian Pulisic, who scored a hat-trick. Pulisic is only the second American player to score a PR hat-trick after Clint Dempsey for Fulham against Newcastle in 2012. He's also the first American player to score for Chelsea in the Premier League. Very interesting. Then we go on to Boraytn versus Everton, and
What a game.
brilliant game. Pascal Gross has scored Brighton's first ever direct free kick in the Premier League, and their first in league competition since Sebastian Pinoli netted versus QPR in the Championship in April 2017.
Rounding off.
Couple more games. We have West Ham versus Sheffield. Since the start of 2016-17 season, Chris Wilder has won 79 league matches as manager of Sheffield United in the top 4 tiers. Only Klopp and Guardiola won more.
Yes, very, very underrated Chris Wilder. I think based on the first 10 games, Sheffield United are looking probably to finish, definitely above Norwich, but possibly the highest of the 3 promoted clubs.
And finishing off with Manchester City versus Aston Villa, Raheem Sterling has scored 13 goals in 14 appearances in all competitions this season, more than any other Premier League player in
he's on
2019-20.
fire.
Absolute fire.
Okay, fantasy football then. 56 points for me this week. 20 of those came from Jamie Vardy. If you had 3 Leicester players in your team, then you definitely would have had. I saw somebody in my league had Vardy, Maddison, and Chilwell. So they got about 45 points from those 3 players. But Pep Guardiola's squad rotation is killing me. I've got Aguero as captain this week, and he came on for about 10 minutes. So. It was a complete waste, but an average week for me. I think I've actually got up to second in the league I'm in, so
That's impressive.
an improvement. But Pep, tell me who you're going to play.
Very similar for me. Average week with 59 points. 22 of those came from Raheem Sterling. Also had Gazzaniga in goal. He had an excellent game against Liverpool, so he got me 8 points. Defence did terribly. I had Jan Bednarek from Southampton, and his team, as we know, conceded 9 goals, so he cost me 2 points. I had Otamendi, who didn't feature because of Guardiola's rotation, and Virgil van Dijk got me 2 points in defence, so not so good this week.
The Championship then, another eventful week in a league that is not getting any, or is getting even closer every week. And then, the top half of the table is ridiculous at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the notable results. Chris, I saw a South Wales derby win for Swansea, wasn't it?
Swansea, yeah. I think they won it for the first time in, 4 years?
Something like that.
Something like that, which is quite impressive. Huddersfield beating Barnsley 2-1. We had Birmingham beating Luton 2-1. Sheffield Wednesday drawing to Leeds. That's an interesting result, isn't it? West Brom drawing to Charlton 2-2. But as you said, the table is looking ever closer with how many points? 4 points between 8th and 1st.
There you go then. Anyone's to take at the moment. One thing I just want to talk about, Gary Rowett going to Millwall, and he's got his first win on the board in his first match against Stoke of all teams, the team he managed. We see that a lot, don't we? A new manager comes in and they win that first game. Like, why do you think that is? Is it psychological, or is it just the players being up for it, or is it written in the stars, or... It just seems to happen at every club, doesn't
club.
it?
It's
I think personally for me, it's just the players get a lot more revved up, don't they? A new manager comes in, they want to impress him.
They want to show off. That's exactly what it is.
So you never really want to be the opponents of a team who have just got a new manager.
Yeah, it's a combination, as you said. It's definitely the players are revved up, they're fired up, they're ready to go, want to show off what they've got. New manager, new opportunities. Players who haven't been starting, they have a chance, a clean slate. Maybe it's something to do with fresh blood, a bit of new energy, new drills in training, a bit of just freshness, just refreshing the monotone sort of things that they're used to every day. But I think it's a combination. But or it could be written in the stars. Who knows? Could be.
The Champions League and the Europa League this week. You came home from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium smiling a lot, didn't you?
I did.
On Tuesday.
It felt weird walking out of the stadium. Everyone's,
and you won.
Exactly. Everyone's smiling. Everyone, jumping on each other. Even hearing the song "Glory, Glory, Tottenham Hotspur" at the end. We're not used to that anymore. Other noticeable results. Chelsea getting a result away at Ajax, 1-0. Very good result. Liverpool beating Genk 4-1 away. Man City demolishing Atalanta 5-1 at home.
And then the Europa League, we had a bit of drama on Thursday, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We had Man United beating Partizan Belgrade 1-0. Wolves beating Slovan Bratislava 2-1 away. But the Roma versus Borussia Mönchengladbach game when Kris Smalling conceded that last-minute penalty, what was that about?
Well, basically the balls, I think, is it the face?
Yes.
Yeah, the face the balls hit him in, and they don't have VAR in the Europa League because it's obviously all the grounds can't use it, so none of them can use it in the end. And yes, I think dying seconds of the game, he gets hit in the face, and the ref points to the spot, and they draw the match. So guess that's a pro VAR comment. But it's not something we're going to try to talk about too much, as even today. I don't know if you had it the same. There was quite a bit of discussion on TalkSport about VAR, and the fact it's dominating the headlines kind of says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. But do you think it's working at the moment?
Yes and no. Like, it's overturning some bad decisions in terms of offsides and things, but they just don't know sort of how to use it. I think the only way I think they can fix it is just make it similar to kind of rugby and cricket, in terms of in rugby you got the TMO explains the decision all the time, doesn't he, so that everybody knows what's going on. And in cricket you can review a decision, so you get 2 challenges per innings, and that way the game doesn't get slowed up too much. But it's either that or they just get rid of it, and we unfortunately tell the refs to do their job, which is what's gonna what might happen. But we're not gonna talk about that for too much longer.
And lastly, the Europa League game, Arsenal versus Vitoria. Arsenal coming back to win the game 3-2. Now, talking of Europa League, Wolves, is Europa League going to affect them? Is it going to be the next Burnley, or are they going to hold on to what they've got?
Well, at the moment, I think it is affecting them in the league in terms of looking where they are. But they're winning games in the Europa League, and they're winning at some very strong teams. So I think they'll probably prefer what's happening at the moment, because they're not in the bottom 3, are they?
No, they're doing quite well. They're currently in 12th place.
If they get a run in Europe but finish maybe mid-table, you're not going to mind, are you? It's that experience that matters. So I think, they just got to keep doing what they're doing, and if their league form suffers, it suffers. But if they get a Europa Cup run, then who knows what it could lead to.
The last 5 Premier League games for Wolves, they've got 2 wins and 3 draws, so that's not bad at all. Sitting comfortably in 12th place with 12 points, with goal difference of 0. So that's
you never know. You might be playing them in the Europa League.
Who knows? We'll see. Maybe the final.
That's it for football for now. Moving on to some of our other sports, starting with cricket. England had a warm-up match for the upcoming series against New Zealand. T20s. England won that warm-up match by 6 wickets. Adil Rashidi took 2 wickets in the hosts' 172 for 4, while Johnny Bairstow and Sam Curran made runs in the chase. Bairstow getting an unbeaten 78 from 45 balls, and Curran struck a brisk 28 from 15 balls. Australia took on Sri Lanka in an international 2020, and they made light work of the Sri Lankans at the Adelaide Oval. David Warner scored a ton as Australia racked up a mammoth 233 for 2 in their allotted 20 overs. That's over 2 runs per ball, or nearly 2 runs per ball. And in reply, Sri Lanka could only muster 99 for 9 and were considerably beaten. So yes, England playing overseas at the moment. Question for you, Kris. Have you ever thought of playing a sport overseas, or do you want to in the future? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Do you know what? I've always wanted to play some Aussie rule football.
Okay.
That was the one. I don't know why. As a kid, I watched it with my parents on TV, and I just fell in love with it. Now, I haven't watched it for a while, so I have no idea what's going on. But I'd love to give it a go because it looks so much fun.
Yeah, I think I'd maybe like to give baseball a go.
Interesting.
It's kind of similar to cricket, I guess, in terms of how you're hitting the ball, aren't you? I did watch it once, and I have to say I didn't find it that exciting actually, because the games were really long, and the scoring system just seemed quite slow. But that was only one game, of course, and I'm sure it's been better other times. The European Championship darts. Rob Cross, he was victorious over the last few days. He overpowered Goen Price in the European Championship final in Göttingen, Germany on Sunday night. He won 11-6 in that game and was too good for Goen. Michael van Goen, speaking of another Goen, suffered a shock exit in the first round to Ross Smith, and the tournament.
Unbelievable stuff.
Yes, and that kind of opened up the tournament completely, and I could have picked anyone to win it, and that's kind of where this next question comes in. And when a tournament favourite goes out, or it's the same goes in any sport, if the favourite goes out, how does that change the mindset of the other teams? Because suddenly you have so much belief, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's just confidence boost, isn't it? Like, they've gone out, now we actually might have a chance to do something, and then that's where you get the weaker teams stepping up, and you've got shocks and stuff. So it's exciting times.
The Rugby World Cup, then, what a weekend it was for England. England 19, New Zealand 7. Kris, I hope you watched this one. You didn't, did you?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't want to get out of bed?
I didn't watch it. But I woke up to the notification that England have made it to the World Cup final. Now, I'm definitely not missing the final. I've watched the highlights. I've watched the extended highlights. What a game it was. Now, we said last week that we didn't think England could do it.
No, I didn't think so. But I have to say that's probably the best performance I've seen by an England team in a World Cup, in the way they attacked, started fast, came out with all the guns blazing, got a couple of scores on the board, had 2 tries disallowed as well.
Yeah.
And they just didn't give New Zealand a chance. Like, their defence was just so solid, and they didn't make many mistakes, didn't concede many penalties, and just broke New Zealand down. And
it's almost like a perfect game, wasn't it? Started off very well, went in front, never gave it back.
Even going into the last 10 minutes, where the All Blacks are known for their comebacks, England just looked really comfortable, and we kind of knew it with about 5 minutes to go. But a stunning victory for them, and can they do it next Sunday? That is the question. The answer is that they can, I think. I wasn't sure whether they were going to include that at the end, but they will play South Africa after South Africa beat Wales 19-16 in 76th minute penalty.
Yeah.
Won that for South Africa. So heartbreak for Wales again. And any World Cup final is obviously completely different to the semi-final, and the same approach I think for England. And they should win. I think they're a better team than South Africa, especially based on the evidence of the semi-finals. In terms of World Cups, then, we've had a great 2 years, to be honest. England getting to the semi-finals of the men's football World Cup. England winning the Cricket World Cup this year. England women winning the Cricket World Cup in 2017. England women had a good run at the Football World Cup this
Got to
year.
the semi-final as well.
And then, of course, now we've got England in the Rugby World Cup final, Kris. So, do you think we're lucky? Do you think we're ever going to see a sort of better period for England, at World Cups? Because historically, we've always seemed to sort of bottle it, especially in like the first decade of this century. But what's been your highlight?
My highlight, he's been an amazing 2 years, but we don't seem to go past the semi-final stage. I mean, but here's a question for you, right? Because with football, it's, when we reached a semi-final, it was everywhere. It was all over the news. Everyone knew about it. It was, in the streets, people wearing flags, cars, everything. Why do you think it's different with rugby or with cricket? Because with cricket, for example, was it a month ago?
July, yeah.
July. No one was aware of it. Like, the people that didn't follow cricket had no idea that the World Cup was going on until the final. Rugby, it's there. It's in the papers. You're aware of it. But it still hasn't got as much of a following as the Football World Cup, for example. Why do you think that is? What?
I think the trouble is not necessarily that those sports are small. It's just football is huge. Like, football is everywhere. Football is all around us. Football is played all year round, all over the world. And, we all know who our local club is. Like, most of us support a team, don't we?
Yeah.
Whereas sort of in cricket and rugby, if you kind of don't follow the sport, you don't usually support a team. But in terms of football, even if you don't follow the sport, you'll often support your local team. And, it's obviously newsworthy as well, football. Like, it's on the front page of pretty much any newspaper or website at most times of the year. But it's kind of something that does need to be worked on. It's almost like tennis in the summer. Like, tennis gets loads of coverage in the summer because it is a summer sport.
Yeah.
But elsewhere, and we don't really kind of, I'll be honest, I don't follow it too much other than the majors outside of that. And I think it is all about increased coverage as well. I think there's no cricket that's on any free to air channels.
Yeah.
So nobody sort of gets access to it. But when they did give access to it, like they did at the World Cup final in July, it got a huge audience, I think, on Channel 4. Loads of people especially tuned in for the Super Over. Yes, I remember that moment very well. But football's just going to be dominant, I think, for a long time, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because it is a sport that we all know and love. But England have had their moments in those other sports, which is very good to see. Finally, our short preview section. 2 games for our respective teams next Saturday at Norwich away to Boraytn. Already spoken a bit about that. Boraytn in good form, especially at home, and Norwich, well, not been very good on the road this season. Only 1 0-0 draw. Yeah, we've only had 2 wins and a draw this season from 10 games, which is quite bad. But it's time to put that run to an end. Let's get a win next Saturday. Let's do it. And another away game for you, Kris. Is that win finally going to come?
We're back in Liverpool to play Everton. Again, as I said, only 2 points out of 15 possible on the road this season. I don't think we feel comfortable enough away to win any games. But hoping for a draw. Realistically, we're hoping for a draw at Everton, who have a decent team. They just haven't shown it yet this season.
No. The Carabao Cup next round is this week, and Crawley against Colchester. Great to see an all League One clubs tie there.
Colchester, eliminated Tottenham in the previous round.
I wasn't going to mention that. But because one of them's guaranteed now to get through to the quarterfinals, I think it is. Yeah, so go Crawley, go Colchester. Chelsea against Man U, that's on Wednesday. Liverpool against Arsenal, that's on Wednesday. That's a good draw, isn't it?
Games, yeah.
And then Villa Wolves as well, so plenty of action this week.
Derby, blimey.
Plenty of action to watch if you're free in the evening this week. New Zealand against England cricket. That tour begins on Friday at 1 a.m. in the morning. I'll probably watch that, to be honest. They've got another warm-up match on Tuesday morning, though, and Australia play Sri Lanka in the second T20 on Wednesday morning. That's at 8:10, so a bit more watchable. May watch that one while I'm at, work, I should call it. And then, of course, the big event next Saturday, 9 a.m, the Rugby World Cup final, England against South Africa. I'm also going to Gillingham that day, and my dad's coming down, so we've booked ourselves a table in a pub in Angel to watch it, and that's going to be a big day in more ways than one. Where will you be watching that in bed, or are you going to get up?
Not sure yet. Maybe go down to a pub. Maybe watch it in bed, but doesn't matter. Come on, the boys. Come on, England. We can bring it home.
Yes, we can. That's all from us today. Thank you very much for tuning in as usual. As I say, episode number 5 now, so we're getting through them. If you've missed any of them in the past and you would like to catch up, you can follow the link to the playlist in the description of this podcast or video. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of when the next one is uploaded. As I said, it should be every Tuesday lunchtime, as long as we're both free on the Monday, which luckily today we both were. But yeah, we're having a good time at the moment. Hopefully we'll continue to develop our skills and make these podcasts even better as the weeks go on. Hope you've enjoyed listening to this one.
Kris, it's a goodbye from me, and we'll see you next week.
I like that.